Welcome to the FitBiz Journey, our newest podcast with Parita Patel and Nyiri. I am a fitness professional and best-selling author. We developed a high-tech invention that allows you to get a 3-hour workout in just 20 minutes. And we're voted as the best gym, best personal trainers, and the most innovative company in the entire Bay Area. And you may have seen us in the Entrepreneur Magazine, Business Journal, Men's Journal, or on the hit TV show The Doctors, where they showcased our workout solution. And most recently, we have been featured with Arnold Schwarzenegger on a movie which is available on Netflix now called Generation Iron 2. And most recently, we have been just working towards preventing muscle atrophy so NASA could get our astronauts to safely colonize Mars. And we are here today with one purpose and one purpose only, to help you. So why don't you take over, Parita, and tell why our listeners should be listening for the next 5-10 minutes.
Absolutely. So we're going to be hosting this podcast every single week, and our objective is to take you through the very, very beginning when you first become a personal trainer, and then learn what it takes to get to multiple studios and a super successful business, all the way up until the point where you're a fitness tycoon. So each week we will be here answering any questions that you may have, going over really important topics. And we're starting today just at the very beginning. So you've gotten your personal training certification. Now what?
That's right. So now what? So Parita, what did you do when you got your certification, and what certification did you get, if you don't mind me asking, and why did you pick that?
Sure. So my background is not actually fitness. I decided that I wanted to pursue a passion of mine, and health was always a big part for me. So when I quit my previous job, I decided to get my certification because I wanted to do something where I could help people. I did end up getting it through NASM, and once I passed my exam, I figured, okay, time to get a job. So it was just a matter of looking onto all the different job sites and sources from Monster.com, Indeed.com, and see where I could apply.
By the way, we forgot to mention this, but Parita, I mean, you're not a trainer anymore. You're actually our operating officer at For You Fitness.
Correct.
So we'll talk about that path. But first, when you first came out of school, I guess, how did you get your first job, and what did it take? How did your resume look? Did you even have a resume about personal training? And if you did not, because most of our listeners probably just got their certification, so they're probably gonna put, which everyone does this, they're probably gonna put their friends and family basically as the contact info and say that was another gym or something for us.
Yeah.
Or they put like experience, and then they put, lots of times I read this and they say stuff like, I trained at a friend's something, or this sports team, pro sports team is the most common, like they say was semi-pro or something like that. Yeah. So anyway, so what should you put and what you should not put on your resume?
Absolutely. So my resume had never had any previous experience in fitness, so I knew that I needed to somehow supplement it. I actually did some shadowing at a friend's gym, where I shadowed a personal trainer for at least a month or so just to learn as much as I could. And then I knew that because I didn't work at a gym before, I definitely needed to include a cover letter. So I wanted to be able to explain where I was coming from and why I don't have that much experience. So I took my resume, which I did include all my other background, but I included an objective, the shadowing experience I had as the most recent thing all the way at the top of the resume, and then I included a cover letter to explain what I wanted to do and why I made such a big change in my life and what I was hoping to get out of that job interview.
So you're basically saying that you also researched the company before you submitted anything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I know that any gym or any studio that would hire somebody, they need somebody that has some sort of experience, some sort of background, but at the least you should be able to know what you're applying for and who you're working for, who you want to work for, so research is essential.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, just we are getting 200 resumes a month basically at our studios.
Oh yeah, at a minimum.
Yeah, and then most of them, I mean, we both get the emails, and then we email each other when we see something cool, basically. But I non-stop just hitting the erase button because so many of you who send in your resume literally just send like a resume, no cover letter, no nothing, just like a blank email with a resume. I don't even open that, just to let you know. Because that already shows me, and probably shows you too, that you didn't do research, you don't care, you're just submitting your job or resume, whatever, as much as places as possible, basically. So you just don't do. It shows me that you won't care. Long story short.
You don't do your homework. There's a little extra work to be done, and you haven't done it. So.
Yes, and I believe before we had our like crazy hiring process, we even had people come to the interview first, and then before we had you, I think they come to the interview, and then they had no idea who I was, for example. That's one. Simple question, and then what's the company actually is doing. They didn't know we do electromuscular stimulation. They didn't know we developed anything. They didn't just show up. Oh, I'm just here for the interview. And then once I had a phone call that a guy called me. He was working at LA Fitness, and he's like, oh man, I'm Daniel. I'm having a hard time finding this place. Is this even worth my time? And I was like, no, you don't need to come in. And then he was like, start arguing on the phone. What do you mean? What do you mean I don't need to come in? I'm like, well, you just showed me that you don't have interest, so thank you. And I hang up the phone, basically. And he tried to call me back, and then I was like, no, that's it.
Talk about first impression.
Yeah, I was like, jeez. Anyways, so now you submitted your resume. You have basically, by the way, how much, I'll tell you mine, of course, and then how much do you look at resume? And why, or what do you actually look at the resume that really stands out for you, mistakes and good things as well? Like, what would be like the number one mistake that you see all the time, and what would be the I guess the best thing that you see?
Absolutely. Basic information, your contact information, you can get any kind of outline for a resume just by searching for one. But then it's important to include any educational background you have, work experience, anything outside of work experience like volunteerism, all that kind of stuff. References are obviously very important, but the one thing that I hate in a resume is simply putting one or two words under either a title or a job that you have. Like, you have to give some detail. You can't just say project manager. I have no idea what that means. How does that help me understand anybody's skill set? So when I see a resume that says experience and then it says managed project and executed this, I'm like, okay, well, I have no idea what that means. At a bare minimum, you should probably read over your resume and make sure you don't have any typos or anything like that. And surprisingly enough, we get a lot of typos. But I mean, read through it and be descriptive. I would say those are two important things for me.
And those are great things, and that reminds me also two things. One thing is, I don't really look at resumes on my end, which I already discussed, because I usually say what you might hear other people say too, but I don't look at basically your lies. So because it's just everybody's over exaggerating. Yeah.
Yep.
And long story short, it's like I know that half of those things are not true. Not everyone, of course. There are exceptions. They're amazing and everything, but so many people just put lies on it. And I prefer that I go. If you match our, let's say, our core values and your purpose in life, and you can actually thrive in our tribe, then you're definitely our person, and we can teach everything else. So we don't have to worry about that. But to get back to what you just said about the one thing that they say about a title, let's say they're head of marketing for a company, which we had a resume a long time ago that a guy literally said, we're not going to obviously say names or anything, but he said that he was head of marketing, and then when we asked, okay, can you please be specific, what do you mean by head of marketing, then what he said?
He said that he set up a table outside of a grocery store and had flyers that he was giving out to people as they walked by.
Head of marketing. See? That's what I mean about the lies on the resume.
Oh, man.
So anyways, don't do that, because you will get caught anyways.
You will.
And imagine, I mean, it's just crazy to me that people do that. Instead of that, just try to have a real amazing impression and then do your research. That will be so much better for you, and have a good looking resume.
And if you have something on your resume, be able to back it up with true statements and knowledge. We had similar hiring round. We had a resume that looked amazing, very excited to meet with this person, and we would ask him questions like, so describe to me your philosophy on what it means to be like eating healthy and high nutrition, clean eating. What does that mean? And how did he respond?
Yeah, anytime all the questions, I have to look at my notes. I have to look back, I'm sorry. And then, like 6 questions, each questions. Yeah, I haven't practiced this for a while, so I would have to look at my notes. That was his response for each one of them.
goodness, I could not believe my ears. And this person was very experienced according to their resume, multiple jobs, and a little bit older too, not even like a young person straight out of school. So you would think that they would have done some homework. It was very, very surprising.
Yeah, it's almost like he took someone's resume, maybe his son's resume.
Maybe.
Or something. I mean,
I don't even
it's just
know.
crazy. Yeah. None of the answers, he was not able to answer anything. But anyways, crap, I forgot, it was something about connected to the resume. But anyways, so yeah, clean it up and don't lie about it.
Don't lie.
Yeah. So the research and cover letter, very important. Resume also just as important, but always have just the right representation and back up everything in your story.
100%.
So let's say what I don't like is when people actually, because lots of times the opposite. So lots of times they are amazing before the interview, during the interview, and they turn out completely the opposite once they get the job. So what you shouldn't do, which we'll talk about in a minute, what you do when you get the job. But the thing is that most people who are actually great, they also do spend crazy amount of time preparing for that interview, which I've seen before. They do amazing, and then once they get the job, they relax. And then it's in corporate world, this is huge. So they accept it. So what they do is they get into this new job, entry job. Let's say they make 30, 40 grand a year, and then all of a sudden they just stay at their level. So they give them the job description and the goals that they need to reach, and they stay right at that level, which you don't want. You want to be always over that level and over-deliver, over-promise, over-deliver, and then you will move up in the chain, right? And you will make way more money. But most people just get stuck in the same job because they don't want to do a little bit more because they say, oh, I don't get paid for it, or my time is more valuable, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, with that you can't go anywhere. So long story short, when you get the job, it's just starting there. So you shouldn't feel like, all right, now I'm good.
It's not comfort zone time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly the opposite.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so you had the job, right?
Correct.
Was it a big interview? You don't have to say where you got the job from or whatever, but was it like a big interview process, or was it easy to get, or what do you think what it was? And then was there education afterwards, or you were just basically straight up trainer and good to go, or what happened?
I would have definitely appreciated a lot more upfront care, I would say. So the interview process itself that I went through was not that extensive.
And this is not For You Fitness.
This is not For You
Fitness. To make
Fitness.
it clear, by the way.
This was my first training job before For You Fitness.
Okay,
I got a phone call, hey, do you want to come in? We'd love to meet with you. So of course, dressed up, went to the interview, spoke with somebody for about 10 minutes or so, and he basically was like, okay, sounds good, so we'll see you soon. Come in next week and we'll get you started.
Before you continue, two things.
Yeah.
One, you said dressed up. Yes, you need to dress up, look the part.
Yes.
You don't come in. I don't like when they meet with me, and if they come in like a belly shirt or they come in like shorts or whatever they're wearing. No, I prefer that you wear like dress up nice, so you respect me, I respect you too. And then that's one, and the second, what you said, arrived. So arrived reminds me, be on time. If you're not 15 minutes early, that means you are actually late. So be at least 15 minutes. If you're 15 minutes early, you're on time. Yeah.
Agreed. Completely agreed. So went in, did the interview, didn't get a lot of questions. There was a lot of trust just right off the bat. And then he said, okay, come back next week and we'll get started. And I was like, okay, cool. So I showed up, and then it was just kind of thrown into the wolves. Even I asked if I could shadow somebody or see what the job looks like and how to interact, because I had never done that before.
Yeah.
So I had to take control of my own career at this particular location. Yeah.
And that's the problem that we have. That's why we actually created For You Fitness, long story short, because most trainers, well, first of all, you can become a trainer overnight. So in a online certification, literally. There are actual certifications. I passed so many online, not because I'm collecting them, and I remember. So that's what I wanted to say. So the other thing, quite the opposite, that so often the cover letters, it's great that you have lots of cover letters. I mean, referrals and referral letters that you're great. But I mean, if you have more than like 3, 4, 5, then and some people had like 10, 15, that actually shows that you're not serious and you're basically just like going around.
Yeah.
So
more loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, I do not want to hire you if you come in and I say, hey, look at this, I have 15 places I worked at. I would be like, all right, here, goodbye. So yeah, that's what I was heading to. But and then so getting back to the big box gyms, for example, and almost any mom and pop shop too. So it's not just the big box gyms. They don't have the process, and business owners always think they know everything, so they won't learn. And their hiring process is basically what you just described, including mom and pop shop, including corporate, because corporate just doesn't care because it's all about the contracts. And they are big bucks now, so when the people come in, they give them the contracts. But we'll talk about it in a minute. That's not the point. The point what we want to do is basically help you to position yourself in a way that you, when Parita got her first job, for example, you can be like an A player instead of just get lost because they just don't help you and support you. So our goal is that you actually either establish yourself as a key person of influence in the fitness industry, or you get a job at our place. No, but I mean, get a really good job that actually pays well, get benefits and all those cool stuff, instead of working for somebody or some place that doesn't give you anything.
Absolutely.
So what happened? Yeah, go ahead.
In my 6 months that I was at this location, the amount of turnover for personal trainers, it was insane to me.
Yeah.
We had at least 4 or 5 other trainers come and go. So I mean, no wonder when you're not given any kind of direction, any kind of care, no goal setting, no purpose, no team camaraderie, none of that. And I think that that's actually very common at a lot of fitness places right now, which is why when I found For You Fitness, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And I didn't even think that this existed because of what I had previously seen. So definitely, just a little care goes a long way as an employer.
Yes, 100% agree. And that that free-for-all mindset, that all these gyms have, is ridiculous. And then that they literally they make you push the contracts. I mean, I don't know if you guys, if you guys experience this, you probably already know this. What you're going through, and you probably started your own business or doing freelancing personal training just because you don't like to be ripped off or work for dirt, basically, on a bad experience. But yeah, so throughout this podcast, as we're gonna go through, we want you to walk you through from just like as a green beans, as we call it, as a new people who just literally graduated or got a certification, how to get a job, how to get the resume right? And then each episode will be a new step for you. So make sure you stay tuned about what we're talking about and how you can establish yourself as either a key person of influence in the fitness industry, as a personal trainer who is making 6 figures, or actual gym owner who is also a key person of influence, but as an owner and an operator, and not as a person who is a personal trainer and has a gym working in it, because that's not a business, which we basically talk about too, that later. And in my book, that's all I wrote about, that literally, if you run your own business, then you are not a business owner. You are basically a warden in your own prison, where you are the prisoner and the warden at the same time.
That sounds like a rough situation.
Yes, exactly. So, do you want to go Q&A, or let's continue basically one more on your journey, a little bit of what happened next, or there's more to it what would you give as a feedback that it was a big box gym? How was your experience, and would you recommend it to people to go to big box gyms, or what do you think? What would you recommend now that you know better?
To be completely honest, I think that the standards of the fitness industry needs to be raised a lot higher, because my initial experience, and I think for most people, would be horrible. Like, I would have not continued if I hadn't found For You Fitness, because the standards were so low, the care provided. I mean, I've actually had a trainer say to me, "Oh, why are you asking me to do all this stuff for my interview? It's just the fitness industry. It's just personal training." No, this is a pretty big deal. We're helping people and we're doing so much for people. Why would we make it just personal training? Take it seriously. It's a great industry to be in. It's about raising the standards at this point. No, I wouldn't recommend you go to a big box gym for a job, let alone personal training. Sorry, that's my personal opinion just from what I've seen. But that doesn't mean that there aren't great jobs out there. Yep. But hopefully what we can show people is not only how to get a great job, but what to do with it and how to build your own company so that you offer amazing jobs. And I would say that that's going to be something I'm excited to share with everyone.
Good, very glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that you guys stay educated and then always improve yourself, because it is really bad out there, and like I said, the quality is so bad. We'll have different guests also on the show who will come in and talk about what they see out there in the industry and how they hurt people, and so many crazy things that's happening out there, and how they just treat personal trainers. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So our purpose here is to guide you through this process, this journey basically, so you can become the key person of influence in the fitness, or you become the fitness tycoon you want to be. And we just want to show you and tell you the truth up front, so you don't get surprised, and then know that that's not the standard that Parita was explaining at a big box gym. I mean, it is the standard basically for what we believe in, but there are still exceptions. and these are the exceptions that we want to teach you how to you create it or how to find one. So make sure that you know that. You always have to over-deliver, and it's not just personal training. I mean, our hiring process is basically being compared in magazines towards SpaceX's hiring process, and they have a pretty strict one with Elon Musk. So Parita had countless trainers who literally said, do I really have to do this, just like she mentioned, for this job or personal training? And we were like, yeah, but I mean, you don't. You can just leave. But,
yeah,
but
which is what we said.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you question it, then we know that you're not the right fit. Yeah. And overall, we'll find the right person. There's always the right person. So if you're a gym owner and listening, just to know, you shouldn't hire somebody just in need. You should always look and basically always know I mean, don't fill a position because in need, fill a position because you found the right person. If you didn't find the right person, do not.
Do not.
It will cost you thousands of dollars.
So much more than it's worth.
Oh yeah, and as personal trainers, you literally just have to put your name out there, and then please send us an email. You can send it at the FitBiz, F-I-T-B-I-Z, FitBiz Journey at foryoufitness.com, which is a number 4, letter U, dash fitness.com. Or if you just find us on Instagram, my Instagram is Daniel Z Nyiri, but that might be actually harder than I thought that spell it out. And Parita's is, what is your Instagram?
I just changed it.
Okay.
At Parita_P_Patel.
Okay, so we'll put it in a video, so don't bring the links, and then you will be able to find us. But long story short, even if you just send an email to the basically FitBiz Journey at foryou-fitness.com with a number 4, letter U, and there's an actual dash, that what you want to talk about, or if you want to be on the show, or if you have any questions or what we should really discuss, give us some feedback, because we already have basically an action plan for like the next 50 episodes, but our goal is that we cover everything that you have faced throughout your journey. I mean, I went through this from day one. I came to the States about 7 years ago now, with $150 in my pocket. Did not have a certification. I did one online basically, and then I did countless. It was very easy, by the way. And then
even though he didn't speak English.
Yes, I did not speak English when I first came here. That's true.
Pretty good now.
Yes, thank you. And but long story short, I was just hustling, putting in the most amazing experience for our clients. I barely had any leave me, and I built an amazing business. Now we have 5 locations. Just this year we went from 2 to 5, and we're gonna have 100 in the next 5 years. So you're also following us on this journey while we are helping you accomplish your journey just like ours. So we have seen lots of things. Now we have 20 plus employees. We go through tons of resumes and everything, so we give you our honest feedback, and all we want to do is just clean up this fitness industry. So that being said, let's just go to some Q&A, because we are live on Instagram. So if you go ahead and shoot some questions, I already see some popping up. So I'm just gonna read some of them real quick. I'm just gonna handpick, by the way. I'm not gonna go over all of them just because we'll be here forever.
Yeah.
But anyways, so first question, and when we might have answered some of these, but anyways, Peter said, his question is, how do you become wanted and known personal trainer in the fitness industry? So, want me to start with this? Or
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, key persons of influence is actually what you need to become. And the great start is read the book Key Person of Influence, KPI, by Daniel Priestley. I highly recommend it. And if you say, I don't have time to read a book, you should just uninstall the app on your phone, podcast app, and also just quit now and don't listen.
Yeah.
Because you need to learn, you need to be open, you need to have time every day. Even if it's just 20 minutes, read a couple pages, it will help you. I guarantee you it's the best investment in yourself. So anyways, read KPI, the book, and then register on Haro, which is HARO, helpareporterout.com, and then register for the fitness. And right there, every single day, you get 12 pitches, basically from news media that they need help with. So let's say it could be Men's Journal, it could be, which we got featured in Men's Journal, Entrepreneur Magazine, and all these magazines, because they're looking for a person, let's say about electric muscle stimulation, or about personal training, or about the top fat loss products, or whatever. So then you obviously have to, we will talk about this in the next episode, you have to have your own pitch, so you can represent yourself, because you will have to pitch yourself to these people and the story that you're selling, and that has to look way better than your resume. So, and they pick you, and that will give you credibility because you show up online and everything. And then, of course, leverage social media, because today social media have become the Hollywood. So now you don't have to move to Hollywood anymore. Yeah. Hollywood actually comes to you, and you have your phone, whether like it or not. It changed. Phone is in control. Just like in the 40s or 50s when the television became a big hit, everybody was at 6 p.m. at home watching TV, being brainwashed. Now everything is on the phone, and everybody is looking at it. So you need to leverage it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anything you want to add to that?
No, I just want to piggyback off of the reading aspect of it. Is it true that you don't have a crazy, insane degree?
Who, me?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I don't have any degree whatsoever.
However, you were able to build so far 5 incredible studios.
Yes.
How did you do that?
I don't know. Just kidding. Yeah. Well, basically I read every single day.
Yep.
I get up in the morning at 4:45 and I read for the next 2 hours, and I just read tons and tons of business books. I mean, that wall is full of books. The red ones, those have been read. But I mean, meaning I already have read them, right?
Yes.
I said it right. And but anyways, yeah, I learned a lot from books, and as soon as I started reading books, our revenue basically doubled each year, if not, sometimes even tripled. But long story short, I did not know anything. I learned the hard way, and that's why I wrote my book also, which became a bestseller. But it's all about it's called FitBiz: Secrets of a 7-Figure Gym. I highly recommend to read it if you haven't read anything about business, so you have no business knowledge, because I didn't when I started, and I learned the hard way. The first 3 years were all errors and mistakes, and I